In this video, we're going to look at the power rule. In my opinion, the power rule is probably the easiest of the derivative rules to learn and master. Whenever I think about taking a derivative of any kind of function, my goal is to look and see if I can manipulate it into a power rule type problem. If I can't do it, then we're going to use the other properties and rules that we'll learn later on. However, for me, I try again to just get it into this method because this is the easiest rule for us to apply in calculus. So I want to start off by just giving you a very general rule for the power rule. If we had this function f of x equals x to the n power, when we take the derivative of this function, the rule states that n will come down and multiply to the coefficient of our variable. So I have n times x, and then my power is going to decrease by 1. So this will always happen. We will always decrease by 1, no matter what our exponent is. And we will multiply that exponent that we brought down to the coefficient of whatever is in front of our variable. So it's very simple. Let's jump in and start looking at a couple of problems. So our first problem that we're going to look at is g of x equals 4x to the 10th power. So this is about as basic as we can really get with the power rule. When I want to take the derivative of this, we're just going to say g prime of x equals, well, our exponent's going to come down and multiply to the coefficient of our variable, and then our exponent is going to decrease by 1. So when we simplify this out, we get that g prime of x equals 40x to the 9th power. And that's it. So let's try another one. This one's a little bit different. One thing that I think is imperative for us to do and to know is the properties of exponents and radicals whenever we start to approach calculus. It'll be one of the easiest ways for us to manipulate problems to make them easier for us to handle. So if you don't know just the basic properties of radicals, we'll go over a brief review of them real quick. Whatever the root is of our argument that we're looking at, this is always going to be the denominator of our fractional exponent. Whatever is in the radical, whatever the power of my variable is, that's going to be my numerator. And what I mean by all that is I can rewrite h of x so that h of x is now an exponent. And we can say h of x equals x to the 3/4 power. So in my opinion, being able to make this transition there between radicals and exponents is one of the easiest and most beneficial things that I can do to go ahead and set myself up to be successful with the power rule. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to simply take the derivative. So when I take the derivative here for h prime of x, I know that my power is going to come down front. So I have 3/4 x, and then we have 3/4 minus 1. Well, in order to subtract that, we're going to use a fraction. We know that. And so 1 can be rewritten as 4/4. So 3/4 minus 1/4 is going to give us negative 1/4. And so I want to clean this up a little bit. I know that this variable is sitting in the numerator, so I really have 3x to the negative 1/4 over 4. And I don't want to have any negative exponents up top. And so I'm going to rewrite this as 3/4x to the 1/4 power. Now, just depending on who your teacher is or maybe what kind of lessons you guys are covering, they may want you to go ahead and rewrite this back as a radical, and that's fine. We're going to follow the same principles that we've been doing. I have 3/4 over. I know that the bottom, the denominator, is going to be my root. And then my numerator is going to be the power inside my radical. And I'm not going to rewrite that just because it's to the first power. All right. So just depending on kind of where you're at, whatever your need for simplification is, there's that problem there. And finally, just kind of piggybacking onto that same thought and practice there, I'm going to take the derivative of this. Sometimes we see these types of problems, and the easiest way, again, just go ahead and manipulate that fraction so that we can have an easy power rule. So when I go to take the derivative of m of x, we get m prime of x equals, well, variable is going to come down. We're going to decrease by 1. Simplify that out. We get negative 9 rather, x to the negative 4th. And then we can put our variable back in the denominator. So we wind up with m prime of x equals negative 9 over x to the 4th power. And that is your power rule. So thank you for checking out my video, and go check out more for the next product rule and the other derivative rules from here on out. Thanks.